In the sacred teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, one of the most revered spiritual masters of the 20th century, lies a profound understanding of how consciousness can transform even the most mundane aspects of our daily lives. Among his many illuminating insights, perhaps none is more practical yet spiritually transformative than his guidance on purifying food through the power of sacred mantras. This ancient practice, rooted in the deepest wisdom of yoga and meditation, offers modern seekers a pathway to elevate their relationship with nourishment from mere physical sustenance to a divine communion with the universal life force. Yogananda, who brought the ancient science of Kriya Yoga to the West and founded the Self-Realization Fellowship, understood that every aspect of human existence could become a doorway to divine realization. His teachings consistently emphasized that the spiritual path is not separate from daily life but rather transforms ordinary activities into opportunities for communion with the divine. The practice of blessing food before consumption represents one of the most accessible yet profound applications of this principle, allowing practitioners to infuse their meals with spiritual energy while simultaneously purifying both the food and their own consciousness. The sacred science behind food purification. The concept of purifying food through spiritual practice extends far beyond mere ritual or superstition. According to Yogananda's teachings, food carries within it not only physical nutrients but also subtle energetic vibrations that can profoundly influence our mental, emotional, and spiritual states. When we consume food without conscious awareness or spiritual preparation, we absorb not only its physical properties but also the consciousness and energy of those who grew, handled, and prepared it. This understanding aligns with ancient Vedic wisdom, which recognizes that all matter is essentially condensed consciousness and that our awareness can directly influence the vibrational quality of what we consume. Yogananda taught that the human body is a temple of the divine, and what we put into this temple should be treated with the same reverence we would show when entering any sacred space. The practice of blessing food serves multiple purposes. It purifies any negative vibrations that may have been absorbed during the food's journey from source to table, it infuses the meal with positive spiritual energy, and it cultivates a state of gratitude and mindfulness that enhances both digestion and spiritual awareness. The Master explained that when we approach eating with conscious intention and spiritual awareness, we transform the act of consumption from a merely physical process into a form of communion with the divine. This transformation occurs not through complex rituals or elaborate ceremonies, but through the simple yet powerful practice of offering our food to God before partaking of it. In doing so, we acknowledge that all nourishment ultimately comes from the divine source and that our bodies are instruments through which we can serve that same divine presence in the world. The universal mantra for food purification. Central to Yogananda's teachings on food purification is a specific mantra that he recommended for blessing meals. This sacred formula, drawn from ancient Sanskrit wisdom yet accessible to practitioners of all backgrounds, serves as a bridge between the material and spiritual dimensions of nourishment. The mantra he most frequently taught for this purpose is, Divine Mother, bless this food and make it pure. May it nourish my body temple so that I may better serve Thee. This simple yet profound invocation contains within it several layers of spiritual significance. By addressing the divine as Mother, we acknowledge the nurturing, life-giving aspect of God that manifests through all forms of sustenance. The request for blessing and purification recognizes our dependence on divine grace for true nourishment, while the final petition connects our physical well-being directly to our spiritual purpose of service. Yogananda emphasized that the power of this mantra lies not merely in the words themselves but in the consciousness and devotion with which they are spoken. When offered with sincere faith and genuine gratitude, these words become vehicles for divine energy, transforming both the food and the one who consumes it. The Master taught that regular practice of this blessing would gradually purify not only our meals but our entire relationship with the material world, helping us to see the divine presence in all things. The practice of using this mantra should be approached with both simplicity and reverence. Before beginning any meal, take a moment to center yourself in awareness of the divine presence. Hold your hands over the food in a gesture of blessing, or simply place them together in prayer position. Speak or silently repeat the mantra with genuine feeling, allowing your heart to open in gratitude for the nourishment before you. Feel the energy of your devotion flowing into the food, transforming it from mere matter into blessed sustenance for your spiritual journey. The deeper philosophy of conscious eating. Yogananda's approach to food purification reflects a much broader philosophy about the relationship between consciousness and matter. In his understanding, drawn from the deepest insights of yoga philosophy, the physical world is not separate from the spiritual realm but rather represents spirit in its densest form of manifestation. This means that our interaction with material things, including food, can either bind us more deeply to material consciousness or serve as a means of spiritual liberation, depending on the awareness we bring to these interactions. The practice of blessing food represents a fundamental shift in consciousness from seeing ourselves as separate beings consuming dead matter to recognizing ourselves as expressions of divine consciousness communing with other forms of that same consciousness. When we bless our food, we are not performing magic or engaging in wishful thinking. We are aligning ourselves with the fundamental truth that all existence is interconnected and that our awareness can influence the quality of our experience at every level. This understanding transforms eating from unconscious habit into a spiritual practice. Each meal becomes an opportunity to cultivate gratitude, to practice mindfulness, and to remember our connection to the divine source of all life. The food on our plate represents the generosity of the earth, the energy of the sun, the nourishment of water, and the labor of countless beings who contributed to bringing this sustenance to us. When we acknowledge these gifts through conscious blessing, we align ourselves with the flow of divine abundance and open our hearts to receive not only physical nourishment but spiritual grace as well. Yogananda taught that this shift in consciousness around eating would naturally extend to other areas of life, gradually transforming our entire relationship with the material world. As we learn to see the divine in our food, we begin to recognize that same divine presence in all aspects of creation. This recognition is the foundation of true spiritual realization and the key to finding lasting peace and fulfillment in life. The energetic transformation of food. From the perspective of Yogananda's teachings, the blessing of food creates a genuine energetic transformation that can be understood both spiritually and scientifically. Modern quantum physics has begun to validate what ancient spiritual traditions have long taught, that consciousness and matter are intimately connected, and that the observer's awareness can influence the behavior of observed phenomena. When we bless our food with sincere devotion and spiritual intention, we are not merely performing a symbolic act but actually influencing the vibrational quality of what we are about to consume. Yogananda explained that food, like all matter, exists at multiple levels of vibration. At the grossest level, it provides physical nutrients for the body. At subtler levels, it carries emotional and mental vibrations that can influence our psychological state. At the most refined level, it can serve as a vehicle for spiritual energy when properly blessed and consumed with the right consciousness. The practice of blessing food with a sacred mantra works primarily at these subtler levels, purifying negative vibrations and infusing the meal with positive spiritual energy. The master taught that when food is blessed with genuine devotion, it becomes charged with the same spiritual energy that flows through the one offering the blessing. This energy then nourishes not only the physical body, but also the subtle bodies that yogic science recognizes as the vehicles of our emotional, mental, and spiritual existence. Regular practice of food blessing thus contributes to purification and strengthening at all levels of our being, supporting both physical health and spiritual development. This energetic transformation is particularly important in our modern world, where much of our food is produced, processed, and distributed through systems that may not always operate with the highest consciousness. Industrial agriculture, mass food processing, and commercial distribution can introduce various forms of negative energy into our food supply. The practice of blessing our meals serves as a spiritual filter, neutralizing these influences and ensuring that what we consume supports our highest good. Practical guidelines for implementation. The beauty of Yogananda's teaching on food blessing lies in its simplicity and accessibility. This practice requires no special equipment, elaborate rituals, or extensive training. It can be implemented immediately by anyone, regardless of their religious background or level of spiritual development. However, like all spiritual practices, it benefits from consistent application and gradual refinement over time. Begin by establishing a regular routine of blessing your food before every meal, no matter how simple or elaborate. Even a quick snack can be blessed with a moment of gratitude and the simple mantra Yogananda provided. The key is consistency rather than perfection. As you develop this habit, you will find that the practice becomes increasingly natural and that your consciousness automatically turns toward the divine whenever you prepare to eat. The physical posture and setting for food blessing can be adapted to your circumstances, but certain elements enhance the effectiveness of the practice. When possible, take a moment to sit quietly before your meal, allowing your mind to settle and your awareness to turn inward. Place your hands over the food in a gesture of blessing, or bring them together in prayer position at your heart. Close your eyes if the setting permits, and speak the mantra either aloud or silently, depending on your situation. The most important element is the consciousness you bring to the practice. Approach the blessing with genuine gratitude for the nourishment before you. Feel appreciation for all the beings and forces that contributed to bringing this food to your table. Open your heart to the divine presence that manifests through all forms of sustenance. Allow yourself to feel the connection between your physical nourishment and your spiritual purpose. When the blessing is offered with this quality of awareness, even the simplest meal becomes a sacred communion. As your practice deepens, you may find that the effects extend beyond the immediate moment of blessing. Many practitioners report that regular food blessing enhances their overall relationship with eating, leading to more mindful consumption, better digestion, and a greater appreciation for the abundance in their lives. Some notice that they naturally gravitate toward foods that support their spiritual practice and overall well-being. Others find that the practice helps them maintain a more consistent connection to the divine throughout the day. The ripple effects of sacred eating. The practice of blessing food creates ripple effects that extend far beyond the individual practitioner. When we approach eating with spiritual consciousness, we contribute to the elevation of collective awareness around food and nourishment. Our blessed meals become centers of positive energy that can influence others who share them with us. Family meals blessed with sincere devotion create an atmosphere of harmony and spiritual connection that benefits all participants. Yogananda taught that every act of conscious spiritual practice contributes to the healing and elevation of global consciousness. When we bless our food, we are not only purifying our own nourishment but also sending positive vibrations into the collective field of human awareness. This understanding transforms the simple act of blessing food into a form of service to humanity and to the divine plan for planetary awakening. The practice also deepens our connection to the natural world and to the beings who provide our nourishment. As we regularly acknowledge the divine presence in our food, we become more aware of the interconnected web of life that supports our existence. This awareness naturally leads to greater respect for the earth, more conscious choices about what we consume, and increased gratitude for the abundance that surrounds us. Many practitioners find that regular food blessing enhances their meditation practice and overall spiritual development. The habit of turning consciousness toward the divine multiple times each day through meal blessings creates a foundation of remembrance that supports deeper spiritual practices. The gratitude and devotion cultivated through food blessing carry over into other areas of life, gradually transforming the practitioner's entire relationship with the material world. Integration with daily spiritual practice. Yogananda emphasized that spiritual practices should be integrated into the fabric of daily life rather than confined to specific times or places. The blessing of food represents a perfect example of this integration, allowing practitioners to maintain spiritual awareness throughout the day without requiring additional time or special circumstances. When combined with other spiritual practices, such as meditation, prayer, and study of spiritual teachings, food blessing becomes part of a comprehensive approach to spiritual development. The practice can be enhanced by connecting it to other aspects of conscious living. Many practitioners find it beneficial to combine food blessing with mindful eating, taking time to truly taste and appreciate their meals rather than consuming them unconsciously. Others connect the practice to gratitude journaling, using meal times as opportunities to reflect on the abundance and blessings in their lives. For those following Yogananda's complete system of spiritual practice, food blessing naturally complements the techniques of Kriya Yoga meditation, the study of spiritual principles, and the cultivation of divine love and service. The consciousness developed through regular food blessing supports deeper meditation by maintaining awareness of the divine presence throughout daily activities. The gratitude and devotion expressed through meal blessings enhance the heart's capacity for divine love, while the recognition of interconnectedness fostered by the practice supports the spirit of selfless service. Conclusion. The practice of blessing food before eating, as taught by Paramahansa Yogananda, represents far more than a simple ritual or tradition. It embodies a profound understanding of the relationship between consciousness and matter, offering practitioners a practical method for transforming ordinary activities into opportunities for spiritual communion. Through the regular use of the sacred mantra, Divine Mother, bless this food and make it pure. May it nourish my body temple so that I may better serve Thee. We can purify our nourishment, elevate our consciousness, and deepen our connection to the divine presence that manifests through all forms of sustenance. This ancient practice, made accessible through Yogananda's clear and practical teachings, offers modern seekers a pathway to sacred living that requires no special circumstances or elaborate preparations. By approaching each meal with gratitude, reverence, and spiritual intention, we transform eating from an unconscious habit into a form of prayer and communion. The effects of this transformation extend far beyond the immediate moment of blessing, gradually purifying our entire relationship with the material world and supporting our journey towards spiritual realization. In our fast-paced modern world, where eating often becomes a hurried and unconscious activity, the practice of food blessing offers a gentle yet powerful way to maintain spiritual awareness throughout the day. It reminds us that every aspect of life can become a doorway to the divine when approached with the right consciousness. Through this simple yet profound practice, we honor both our physical needs and our spiritual nature, creating harmony between the material and spiritual dimensions of existence. As we continue to develop this practice, we join a timeless tradition of seekers who have recognized that true nourishment comes not only from the food we consume but from the consciousness we bring to all aspects of life. In blessing our food, we bless ourselves, our loved ones, and the entire web of existence that supports and sustains us. This is the gift of Yogananda's teaching, the recognition that every moment, every meal, and every breath can become an opportunity for divine communion and spiritual growth.